All right, guys, so I'm out in the desert, and you know, I only really fly long range out in the desert, so today I'm finally going to get around to comparing my two Lipos for the FR7. You know, I mentioned it like a while ago before I went to Florida, but it's just been cold and I've been busy, and today it's probably mid 50s and it's not windy. I've got the quad tuned pretty well, GPS is working, so today is the day we're gonna compare these Lipos and see how they do. Okay, so these are the Lipos in question. We've got the Dinogy 3700 mAh, they're both 6Ls, and then the China Hobby line 3300 mAh. So supposedly this one has 400 more milliamp hours, but they weigh about the same. Got them on the iCharger. I'm just kind of topping them off. So we'll top them off until they're completely done. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fly out. Can't really see the water from here, but I'm gonna fly out to the end of the reservoir. It's about a mile, 1.3 miles. I'm gonna fly out there to the end, fly back, land, try to maintain a constant speed and similar flight times. And then we'll just come back, put them on the charger, and compare voltages. You know, whichever one comes back with the highest voltage basically wins. If something happens and I like lose OSD, or I'm sorry, if I lose satellite, which will mess up the you know, miles per hour, then I might do a do-over. I've got my battery bank and I've got my iCharger, so I can pretty much do this like all day. So yeah, we'll let these guys top off and we'll get started. The China Hobby line is taking longer because I actually just flew it, so it should only take a few minutes. Real quick, I'll just show you guys one more thing while they're still charging. Internal resistance. You can see that the Dinogy is way better, and I didn't like preheat these or anything. They're just, you know, and I just flew the China Hobby line, so it should be even, you know, lower. But when I got the China Hobby line, it was at like 11, and it's steadily gone down a little bit, but you can see here it's nowhere near as low as the Dinogy, which is, it's pretty insane. And if you don't know, you know, if you're not super experienced with Lipos, internal resistance directly correlates with like the Lipo's ability to dish out current. The lower the internal resistance, the more current it can dish out, the more power it can dish out. So you always want low internal resistance. 2.7, that's really good. Usually most Lipos are somewhere in between like 3 to 5 per cell. But so yeah, 2.7 is really good. And when you check IR, you want your batteries to at least be at like room temperature. They're supposed to be around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. These are probably around 70 or 80, just because I've had them sitting in the sun. All right, recording in the goggles, recording on the camera, recording on the GoPro. Let's see what the Dinogy does. Go to my little tree. And then I'm going to try to keep it somewhere around 60 miles an hour. We'll just fly out to the end of the reservoir. Satellites, running a beta flight 4.4 or 4.1.4. Pulling about 30 amps. So we'll just fly to the end here-ish, and then turn around and come back. A little over 1.2 miles. I love how calm it is today, guys. Yeah, for analog, this camera's pretty good because I can already see the lot where I'm parked. Okay, so we'll call that about a 3-minute flight. Now I've got to wait for the China Hobby line to charge again, and we'll do that one, and then we'll let them rest for a minute, and then see where they ended up. Okay, China Hobby line just finished charging. Already flown it once, just flew the Dinogy, so we're gonna do the China Hobby line one more time, and then we'll compare. Hoping my GoPro footage comes out pretty clean. Been kind of retuning 4.1.4 because it's tricky. You have to get a good tune, but you have to make sure your GPS works too. Okay. 40% throttle. Going about 60 miles an hour. Must be flying into a slight headwind. Get to the end, turn around. I feel like somebody's gonna ask if I'm worried about flying long range with the DJI goggles, because there's a misconception that the goggles will reboot if you have bad signal. And for some of you guys that follow my channel, I've already tested this, but basically what I found that is if you have an NTSC camera At least with my setup with the Fusion module, I don't have any resets. Like I'll crash or completely lose signal, and the quad or the goggles will just go to snow. They won't ever reboot. So no, I'm not super worried about it. Plus I do have return to home. Okay, 3 minutes. They were both about 3-minute flights. Let's see how we did. Alright guys, so 3-minute flight. Try to keep it around 40% throttle, 60 miles an hour. Dinogy ended up at about 3.87, and the China Hobby line ended up at about 3.82. So, you know, it's pretty definitive that the Dinogy is in fact more milliamps than the China Hobby line, even though they weigh the same. If I remember right, the China Hobby line was 513 grams and the Dinogy was about 520. So I can't math. What is that, an 8-gram difference? So, I mean, pretty close. Okay, let me go back up. Alright guys, so that was the Lipo shootout for the FR7 long range quad. This thing's so sick. So yeah, the Dinogy clearly is the better performing Lipo, but it's almost twice as expensive as the China Hobby line. The China Hobby line I got for $57, and the Dinogy retails for $90. Mind you, I didn't pay for the Dinogy, it was sent to me. But it, you know, it obviously, given that it weighs the same as the China Hobby line, it obviously has the higher quality cells. So, I mean, not even just talking range, you're gonna have just better punch, better, just, you know, just overall better performance, you know, for how much the Lipo weighs. But, you know, you have to decide if that's worth another $40. With cheaper Lipos, you know, you run the risk of puffing them or dropping a cell. And, you know, when you're flying miles away, you know, maybe it's worth it for the extra peace of mind to invest in higher quality Lipo, which in this case, the Dinogy obviously is. That being said, I haven't had any problems flying the China Hobby line. Like, you know, I use it quite often to test different versions of Betaflight or whatever. And it's performed okay. But, you know, if I was really going to push for range, or if I was like flying in the mountains somewhere, I'd absolutely use the Dinogy because I want my rig to be, you know, as reliable as a built FPV rig can be. So yeah, that's the Lipo shootout. You know, I know there's already plenty of people using the Dinogies and the China Hobby lines. There's also a lot of people using GNBs. I probably wouldn't even use a GNB. I mean, if I see a Lipo that claims to be a certain milliamp hours but weighs 100 grams less than the competition, something's wrong. So I mean, I just wouldn't even go there. I don't even care about how much it cost. You guys let me know what you guys think. I'm charging the Dinogy up again. This will be like my 5th flight. What is this, spring? It's gorgeous out here today. There's no wind. It feels pretty warm. My hands aren't getting cold. So yeah, I'm gonna charge the Dinogy up again and just fly for fun. And yeah, head home. It's only 3 o'clock. I might go ride my motorcycle later. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you know, what Lipo you like to run for a long range. And until next time, later.